Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast in all of the internet. My name is Matthew Stoner.
I'm Patrick Knisley.
I'm David Howe.
And I'm Emma Brockway.
Hey! We got a very special guest, Emma Brockway, here, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice to be here.
Yes, thank you for being on the show.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You are here to talk about Pokemon, which is the main topic of our episode. Kind of a post-mortem of Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. And we're going to also discuss the Pokemon DLC, the 2 DLC announced that's coming out in 2020.
Very exciting.
Along with the news, we have Games Done Quick recap, some Fire Emblem, BioShock, Switch updates, a lot of news. A lot of cool stuff.
Tons of news.
Yes. Sony not going to E3 in our news segment. How y'all doing?
Doing good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing good.
Yeah. Having a pretty good day, I think.
Yeah.
Me
it's
too.
all right. It's all right.
It's been a good week.
The songs from Cats are still stuck in my head.
Oh, no.
I still need to see that.
Yeah, I'll go with you.
Oh man.
I will
Really
also
tempted.
go.
Yes. Okay, great. My family didn't want to.
My family did not want to either.
Yeah.
Great.
No one wanted to go.
But I need to know how bad it is.
It's actually pretty amazing.
Don't get these two started on this. We do have maybe the most bullet points on our news that we've ever had. So we should get to it. But before we do that, a couple of shout outs to people. Our last episode was about replay value, and a few people gave us comments and thoughts on that. Austin Young talked about how replay value is very important to them, which is totally something I've observed. I'm friends with Austin, and he puts shit tons of hours into all of his games, and doesn't buy tons of games. Steven Swirsky said that trophies and achievements, which is a huge major topic we missed.
We totally didn't talk about it.
We didn't talk about that, partly because it's not on the Switch.
Yeah. But he's right. It's like adding trophies or achievements to the Switch, I think, would add replay value to a ton of games.
Yeah, and that's kind of replay value that some people really get into. And
shout out to Swirsky, by the way. He's my coworker. What's up, dude?
There you go.
What's up, dude?
And Chris McKeever claims that Disney Tsum Tsum Festival has replay value, but we don't know yet because we haven't gotten around.
We haven't gotten around to it. Well,
Sorry.
we wanted to this week and we just couldn't get to it.
Yeah. So
Yeah, hopefully one of these
time.
days we'll play Disney Susum Festival.
We'll get to it next week.
And we also want to give a shout out to other podcasts that mentioned us and are listening to us. It's Nintendads and the Boss Fight podcast. You guys can check those out if you're looking for more video game podcasts. I'm going to get it out one of these times.
Yeah, their names again are Nintendads, the 3 dads talking about video games, Nintendo stuff. And then the Boss Fight podcast.
Nintendads is basically if 3 Patricks were all sitting in a room with 3 microphones.
I have listened to them and I do relate.
Yeah.
But we'll get into it now. We got a lot of stuff. So I think, Matt, you said this. AGDQ, the Awesome Games Done Quick, the speedrunning fundraiser just happened, I think, between our last episode and this one. And so there was a lot of big moments. And I think, David, don't they always raise more money than they've ever raised? And they did that again?
Yeah, they did. I think for Summer Games Done Quick last year, they did 3.04. And this time, I believe they did 3.2 or 3.3 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's really
and
good.
Like that last million was all on Saturday as well. Pretty much I was watching throughout the week. I love GDQ. It's like my favorite time of year. I find speedrunning to be endlessly fascinating, and it's just on 24 hours a day. So it's like at any point I can kind of have it on in the background, or have it consume my full attention, which is a lot of what happened this week. But yeah, it was awesome. I basically watched GDQ all day Saturday. They had some amazing runs on Saturday.
And we did an episode kind of about it at one point, and they raised money for, I think it's different each time, right?
This was for the Prevent Cancer Foundation.
For cancer.
Yeah. A lot of people giving Neil Peart shout outs in the donations because he just passed away due to cancer as well. So R.I.P. Neil Peart.
Unless somebody else has something on that, moving on.
Just quickly, some of my favorite runs. Untitled Goose Game was great.
It was so cool.
It was the
awesome.
It was the last night. And then I also enjoyed the run of Mega Man games.
Yeah.
So there's like a 3 or 4 hour block. And like Mega Man X3 was great to see that run. Just the first time I saw Mega Man X3 do a speed run.
Yeah.
So I really like that one.
There are like too many for me to mention, but like just some of the ones on Saturday, like specifically, like there was a 8-player 2-team Mario Maker blind relay race. That was so fun to watch. And I watched that with Sasha, and that was like really entertaining. And then they did a Link's Awakening run as well, which like kind of blew my mind. Like,
the old one or the new one?
The 2019
That's
one.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. And it was like just the way that you can clip like on top of geometry in that game. Just like seeing Link run on top of the trees in Link's Awakening was like mind blowing. And it's definitely check that one out. I think he did it in like an hour 20, something like that. It was awesome. Yeah.
So moving on then, but still in the realm of speed running, people have been speed running Ring Fit Adventure, and this has been making the rounds.
Is that even possible?
It is, and
Yeah.
in particular, there's a Japanese player, and I'm sure I'll butcher how you say this, but it's Sakinyan. And they did it in about 18 hours straight of them playing Ring Fit Adventure on the lowest difficulty.
Right. You have to do it on easy.
I've only played like a few hours of that game, but it's tiring.
Yeah,
That sounds exhausting.
I think the world record right now is like 18 hours.
Yeah, that's
right?
what.
Jeez.
And that's 18 hours straight that they play that game.
So impressively
Props to that.
too, they also like only took like one break.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
like
no.
to go to the bathroom, and otherwise we're just kind of eating and drinking as they did it.
The article I read about this was players push their bodies to the absolute limit to speedrun Ring Fit Adventure.
Patrick Klepek has an article about it on Vice Games. If you want to read that one, that's and there's another gentleman named Adam England that also tried speedrunning it, but with more breaks to go to the bathroom
Yeah.
and a longer time. And that same Japanese player also tried to do it on the highest difficulty and gave up.
Fuck that. Yeah.
Very fair.
I never want to do that many squats in one day.
So we've been kind of talking about Switch Pro rumors off and on, but in particular now there seems to be yet another article from a publication called DigiTimes where they claim they have a source that's involved in the production of this, and that the production is supposed to begin late first quarter, so probably like March-ish.
Right.
And the Wall Street Journal writer who had kind of talked about this in the past retweeted that article, kind of hinting at like they think this is additional information that from like they had a source too that was saying they were working.
Is that
Nintendo's working.
Dr. Senkintoto?
No, that's the analyst in Japan. This is a Wall Street writer. His name is Takashi Mochizuki.
Good pronunciation there, Patrick.
I'm doing my best. I need to, or I'll just say it with an Italian accent.
Mochizuki.
So
I wonder if Italians are offended by our podcast, by the way.
Giovanni.
probably. So I don't know. That seems like some legitimate sources there. We'll see.
Apparently, according to the reports, it's supposed to ship like in the mid of this year.
That's right.
So like sometime in summer, which is
only 4 or 5 months away, right?
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I'd be surprised, but it's Nintendo. You're always surprised.
Yeah, it's like either going to be like an actual revision, like a DSi style upgrade to the DS, or do you think they'd do another quiet revision like they did with the V2?
Possibly. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I would have firmly said I don't believe it until like more and more stuff like this.
Matt is done talking about Switch Pro rumors.
I am. We talk about it every episode.
All right, we're moving on.
There's always rumors.
Yeah.
But this one seems
Maybe
more
there'll
legit.
always be rumors, though.
Exactly.
There will be. But
As long as there are professional gamers, there will be Switch Pro rumors.
So I think it was last week we talked about a Switch update that was supposed to happen. Well, it didn't happen, and it turned out Nintendo apologized because they like put the wrong information in a tweet about their maintenance. It was just maintenance where you couldn't get an update.
That's funny.
So
Rip themes.
We didn't get those folders that we were talking about.
We never will. They're holding it for the Switch Pro.
The only change folder.
Yeah, it's exactly the same on the inside, just has a better
Guys,
OS.
we just talked about the Switch Pro. Let's keep going.
Oh man. So Konami announced that they're making a Switch exclusive console game, and the main reason I want to talk about that is because Konami doesn't make games anymore.
Yeah.
They just make pachinko machines and ports of their own
Contra Rogue Core.
and collections and mobile games. So I doubt it'll be like an amazing game, but
We'll see. I like the art style.
yeah, it's called like Solomon something or other.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called, but it's got like a very colorful anime style.
Yeah, it had like a manga thing that it showed. I didn't really look into what it's about, but
Yeah.
the art style looked cool.
It's sort of like a monster battling game called Solomon Program. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool if they started making games again.
Yeah, I think they're done making like AAA big games. I think it's going to be like a free to play
Pachinko
transaction-y mobile style game, but we'll see.
It's a spiritual successor to PT.
So there's another Nintendo podcast out there called NVC, Nintendo Voice Chat, and they're done by IGN, and the president of, I think he is, of IGN is on there, is Per Schneider, who's he's been in video games journalism for a long time.
Yeah, he's one of the founders of IGN, I believe.
Yes, yeah. I think you're right. And I think he's German he's German. But he also speaks Japanese. So he has some maybe connections. Anyway, he dropped a hint on their last episode about what the Wii U ports are that are coming, like as if he knows.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody watched that. It's like the way he says it makes you feel like he definitely knows.
As I was pulling up to the house, that segment of the podcast played.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Cause I listen to NVC every week. If you're not listening to NVC and you're a fan of this podcast, you should also listen to that podcast. It's like a great podcast.
But if you had to pick one.
Pick ours. Yeah.
Oh my God.
If you had to pick one, pick Nintendo.
What game is it?
Okay,
so much exposition.
He said it was funny the way he described it was like the way he rated the games, and then the other hosts are like, come on, you can't do that. But then also maybe being like, well, maybe we shouldn't tread into this territory. And then he goes, well, let me just say that something, I can't remember how he phrased it.
He said, I really like Nintendo's take on real-time strategy games.
Yeah.
And so it's Pikmin.
Everybody thinks it's Pikmin 3.
There's not that many out there.
Matt just aged 30 years.
Yeah. Switch Pro.
Well, in addition to that, though, there is some other stuff corroborating Pikmin 3 release coming soon. And that's that Nintendo's website for Pikmin 3 is now down. The release that they had for the Wii U, it had been up this whole time, and it no longer is on the internet. So that could potentially mean that they're making a new site for the Switch version of the game, or they're updating it to have Switch stuff on it, or they just decided they didn't want to support a website for an outdated Wii U game anymore. But I think it kind of goes hand in hand with that little hint that Pear dropped.
Yeah, and there's been rumors about that one in particular. And it's Kingzell or whoever said that was coming.
And it's just like a no-brainer to bring Pikmin 3 to
I can't wait to play Pikmin 3 again. To watch my little cute little Pikmin carry bottle caps.
Oh, yeah.
I really hope that if it is true.
It's the simple things for Matt.
It is. Yeah.
It's a good show or game, honestly.
It would make a good show as well.
I mean, I used to just watch my sister play, so yes.
Yeah.
Also, a BioShock collection was rated in Taiwan for the Switch. So that sounds like that'll be coming at some point soon.
Yeah, there was ratings for that. I think Metro Exodus.
Yeah, Metro games.
And also Saints Row the 4th or Saints Row 4. And usually when we get a bunch of ratings leaking, it means that there's a direct coming soon.
And I wonder, and all these other kind of things. I feel like all these things point to it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So Fire Emblem Warriors is going to be if you're in Japan and you have the Nintendo Switch Online subscription, you can get that for a week trial. They did that this will be from January 20th to 26th. They did this, I want to say it was about 6 months ago, and they did it where you could get Mario Tennis Aces in the US as well. I think it was a different game in Japan at the time. It was Captain
Mario
Toad
Kart
or something.
Oh, it was Captain Toad, yeah.
But I expect that probably Europe and the US will get a game at some point soon. Maybe. Let's hope.
Like a trial period with a discount.
Yeah, because the one time this has happened in the past, it also happened here.
Yeah.
And speaking of Mario Kart, there's another one of those online opens where you can earn gold points if you're one of the best Mario Karters in North America. The top 8 people earn a bunch of gold points, $25 or something.
That's this Friday, correct?
January 17th is Friday. That's correct.
We won't be able to do that because we'll be at
PAX.
Yeah, we're going to PAX this weekend.
PAX South, yeah.
We'll be at PAX South.
We probably should have said that up top.
We should have. Well, in the middle of the news, we're going to be at PAX South. So come find one of us.
Yeah. Hit us up. We'd love to do a meetup.
Yeah. Moving on. Super Mario Maker 2 upload limit is now 100 courses, and there are also now over 10 million courses you can play.
That's so
Nintendo
fucking
announced.
That's really impressive.
Yeah. I've played all of them.
So relatedly, this kind of flew under the radar, but the last patch where they added Lincoln as a playable, apparently on the, like some Japanese on the Nintendo Japanese website, they had a little note that more updates are planned. So we all were kind of expecting that, but there was no certainty. And now it seems like we can expect at least one more update to that game.
Pikmin
so that's
DLC.
Cool.
Nintendo Switch Pro DLC.
It'll tie in with the Pro.
That would be great if you could play it as a Nintendo Switch Pro. You just shoot your Joy-Cons off at people. You drift.
The Japanese publication Nikkei did an interview with President Furukawa of Nintendo, and you can find a translation of that, I think, done by God, I'm looking at it right now. I think it's Nintendo, Japanese Nintendo.com.
Japanese Nintendo, yeah.
So you can find the whole thing there. There's also other like articles about it. The sort of the ones that were getting talked about online, where he made some comments about AR, like augmented reality, and how they're doing some research into that. But that was kind of in response to a question about it. And he was just kind of saying they are exploring all kinds of technology. He made some comments about cloud gaming and how, maybe that'll come around at some point, but doesn't think hardware is going away anytime soon. And then also is asked about Smash tournaments and why they don't give prize money, and he did a nice sidestep to that question.
Okay, so he didn't really answer it, unfortunately?
It felt like one of those non-answers, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But he said
what
something,
did he say?
He said something to the effect of like, that's not how we support it. We think what we do is, encourage all kinds of gamers.
Oh.
It wasn't really an answer directly to the question, in my opinion, but it was kind of saying something which you hear is that like they want it to, the argument people make is that they don't want to isolate casual gamers, though I don't think that would. And that
to give prize money to people who win Smash tournaments?
Yeah. I guess to make it seem like it's such a high level of play.
Oh, okay. I kind of get that.
Like, I've never played competitively, but watching competitions makes me want to play.
Yeah.
Like, it's still fun. I don't think that would be discouraging.
Yeah. I guess I can kind of see that they would only want to like give prizes on stuff that they're running. Like when they do the Nintendo World Championships or whatever, like that is like totally under their control. They can decide like who the commentators are. You know what I mean? Like, they're not gonna, because we've said stories on this podcast before about like shenanigans that go down at Smash tournaments. People that get banned for hate speech or whatever. And I'm sure they're like, maybe let's not like officially get involved in fan events like this. I guess I can see that.
The explanation he gives is that they're not opposed to it. It's just that the way they support games is that they can be enjoyed by everybody. So they do a lot of different events, and it just didn't really answer the question. And that's what differentiates them.
Right.
So, whatever.
Yeah.
Speaking of like Nintendo's old headquarters in Japan, not speaking of, I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me start that.
Not everything can be a segue, Patrick.
Yeah. I'm really trying here. So Nintendo's old headquarters in Japan is going to become a hotel, and this is like their headquarters dating back to a long time ago. And that's pretty cool. It's like back when they were a card game company.
Right.
So
not their Kyoto office.
Correct.
Right.
My understanding is that this was their headquarters back even so far as like,
the 1800s.
The late 1800s. And one would expect that will be a sort of that they're probably going to tie in the fact that it was the Nintendo headquarters in some way, like do a little shrine or something.
They still own the building, yeah.
I don't think Nintendo owns it anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's like a third party or whatever, or some other company that bought it, or
like Neversoft or something.
It's going to be like a third party. If you're there in Japan, staying at that hotel, very soon, coming this summer, you'll be able to go to Nintendo World at Universal in Japan.
Yes.
They have been dumping out news about this, and they released a video, which is quite entertaining in my opinion.
It's like a trailer / music video.
It's
like a music
really
video.
long. It's really hard to tell what exactly is going on, to be honest.
Yeah, it's 2.5 minutes, and it's a unique song by Charlie XCX.
Yeah.
It's like a band featuring her.
Right.
There's also like flash dancing and all kinds of just like really intricate, like what are they doing? It's hard.
They're jumping and collecting coins, and coins appearing out of nowhere.
Right.
Running all over things.
Well, it's clearly like a video that is showing the concepts behind the park, but then take kind of crazy liberties with it. Like the whole thing is essentially CG, right? And it's kind of like an extra version of the park. But then at the end of it, it kind of pans out from above, it like zooms out, and you see the actual layout of what the park is going to look like at the end.
Yes. So I said band. It's Galantis, who is like Swedish producers.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like a duo. I
producers.
Googled them today.
I mean, it looked really cool, and it definitely builds hype.
Yes. Yeah. And the one sort of big piece of information that's coming out is that it sounds like it's going to be a gamified experience. Like you get a wristband, and I don't know how, you know, like that presumably keeps track of certain things that makes it more like a game experience.
It like connects to a unique app for the park. So it's like talk about AR. Like this will probably all be AR enabled. And I know like the Mario Kart ride is supposed to use AR goggles as well for items and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
Whenever you're
That's
racing.
really cool.
Yeah. And there's lots of little details in it. I actually watched a breakdown of the video today, and it's like something that was cool about that Mario Kart ride is that it's going to be 4 people in one cart with another cart also with 4 people on it, and you can like interact with the carts by shooting items at each other and stuff like that.
That's nuts.
That looks really cool. There's going to be a Yoshi ride, or everybody rides their own Yoshis.
Yes.
Which sounds incredible. Yeah. And apparently, there'll be like rush times where you have to like rush and get coins and shit like that. It looks fucking cool.
Yeah. So when that opens, I'm sure we'll do more about it, or as more information comes out, maybe
we'll do an episode from there
with Chris. Yeah, with Chris.
And it's opening in Tokyo sooner than the other parks.
That's right.
This summer.
Sometime this summer.
And then it's also coming to Orlando and Hollywood. In the Hollywood location, Universal Studios Hollywood would be the smallest Super Nintendo Land?
Super Nintendo World.
Super Nintendo
It might be
World.
land to be like Disneyland, I guess.
The small one, yeah.
Yeah.
But I know the one in Orlando is also going to have a Donkey Kong section that the one in Tokyo is not going to have. So it's sounding like the one in Orlando is going to be the biggest one whenever they finish it.
Nice.
So I might just wait and not book a ticket to Japan and just go to Orlando. But also I'll probably just go to Japan.
Well, let's just wait to 2022 when that Star Wars, that $3,000 48-hour immersive experience. We'll spend $3,000 on Star Wars.
Is that a real thing?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. My parents went.
Well, wait.
Well, I'm
like
talking about
they're doing like an addition to it?
not the Rise of Resistance.
Oh,
but
some other
you
thing.
stay at a Star Wars hotel. It's $3,300, and you get like a personality, and it's all immersive experience. What I'm saying is, let's blow some money.
Yes. I mean, that does sound cool, but
Hopefully by 2022 I can afford something like that.
there you go. Goals.
Either way, I'm really pumped about that. Like this trailer kind of blew me away. And the Charlie XCX song, which I'm not really a big fan of Charlie XCX, but the song was really cool. And it like, you know, it was like very modern and popular and like, but incorporated the Mario theme like perfectly. Like I thought it worked really, really well.
Yeah, no, I was with it the whole time. It's just like, yes, whatever's happening, whatever's in the park, I want to do that too.
Yeah. Everybody dabs at one point at the same time.
Yeah, I saw that.
Everybody in the entire park dabs. It's so cool.
Obviously, that's what's going to happen there.
Every night at 8 p.m.
There's a signal. They tell you, yeah.
The wristband tases you until it forces you into a dab, I think.
Ideal.
Awesome. So
I could talk about this all day.
CES happened this past week. The Consumer Electronics Showcase. Am I right about that?
That's correct.
And just to mention this real quickly, there were a couple of interesting Switch imitators that got revealed there. So Razer already had kind of a Switch imitation. Yeah. And Razer is like a big PC gaming, you know, maker of peripherals and stuff. And they had, I think one come out this past year, but they announced another one that looks like a Switch add-on for like your phone or something that's going to specifically work with like xCloud really well is the idea there. But then maybe even more interestingly, Alienware, another big PC gaming company, has a thing called the UFO that looks just like a Switch and is just like a Switch. It's basically like a way to play your Steam games, I guess, on a little mini computer.
It's like a little Windows 10 machine tablet thing
that looks just like a Switch, and you can even take the things off and have play like a...
He has detachable controllers.
Yeah.
Like the rails on a Switch.
Very, very much like the Switch.
What if that's the Switch Pro that everybody thinks? They like think it's for Nintendo, but it's
Guys,
actually...
come on, let's keep it going.
the biggest question here is not a lot of details about it, but like how you would play this on the go, because you need the internet probably at least to verify you own games. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they get a workaround on.
I'm sure they'd have a workaround. My biggest questions are, how much is this thing going to be? Because I don't think it could be any less than like $1,000, and like no one's going to buy it if it's $1,000. Maybe they get it down to like 600, something like that. But even then, you're only looking at a very niche audience for that. PC gamers don't necessarily like want to lug their shit around. They like to sit at home in the darkness and play video games. Sorry, that was rude.
No, but it's true. If you've built a PC tower and you like it, then you're gonna stick with it.
Yeah. And then my other question would be like, how is like heating going to work on this thing? You know, if you're like playing like, you know, games that are made for PC on like a integrated graphics card, like on a tablet, like
Crisis Ultra.
Yeah, it's just, I just feel like this thing's going to get so hot in your hands.
Because
like,
that means the battery's going to last 20 minutes.
Exactly.
Or that would be the other one, right?
Yeah,
Isn't the screen also bigger?
Yeah, it's bigger, and it's like 1440p or something like that.
Which is cool, but also carrying that around sounds kind of rough.
Yeah.
I think
it seems more like proof of concept right now than anything.
I think it could be cool because you joke about PC gamers wanting to do that, but I think a lot of PC gamers would love portability. And, you know, I think the Switch has proven that. There's a lot of people that play both Switch and PC as like, especially as companion pieces because of the portability. And I think even just like if you could play it at your house on your couch or in bed, occasionally pick up the game you were playing. I think that, you know, we'll see. The price might be
and stuff like that exists, you know, like with Steam Link and stuff like that. Yeah. You can play your Steam games on your phone. So it's like, this seems like it's trying to be an all-in-one device like the Switch is. But yeah, I mean, CES is a place where people show off stuff that's like 3 to 5 years out, you know, so this definitely seems like something that's very early in development.
Something else that happened at CES was Sony announced the PlayStation 5 logo. And everyone went nuts, and it looks just like you would think it would.
It's the most likes received on Instagram for a video game announcement from a first party.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
That we keep track of such things.
We just added a 5 to the PS4 logo.
I saw like a joke video where somebody is like, the graphic designer goes on and deletes the 4 and then types 5.
Well, he takes the S, flips it, and then adds a top.
Anyway, other Sony news that just happened is we got confirmation from checking out who it was. I forget who it was, like GameIndustry.biz, that PlayStation Sony is not going to participate in E3 2020. They obviously didn't last year, and now we know they're not going to be there this year, and they may never go again. Is kind of the speculation. Maybe there's some internal thing going on there, or maybe they just have decided that it's way too much money.
Well, I think there was some sort of press junket or something where they said that they're instead going to be focusing on like hundreds of individual fan events.
That's correct. That's what I think the statement they gave to Game Industry .biz was something.
Which in my mind, it's like, why don't you make one of those events E3?
Clearly,
if you're going to do 100 of them, you might as well go to the biggest one.
Right. Clearly, they must either have some beef or it just costs too much and doesn't seem worth it, which I think, you know, we're talking about this. Maybe in this day and age, it's really nice from a fan perspective. It's fun to have everything happen all at once, but if it costs them a shit ton of money and they can still reach people with just a direct stream or whatever.
I mean, they do that with the PlayStation, what is it? All Access, or what is it called?
That's the Microsoft one.
Oh, yeah.
State of Play.
PlayStation State of Play. So they're already doing the direct style. But I mean, Nintendo does the direct thing and then still shows up. So it's like, I'm just kind of bummed that I'll probably never go to an E3 where all 3 big companies are there.
Yeah. It seems like if they're going to miss this year, then they're probably not into it. Right. Cause it seems like, or they're like trying to, it just seems such a weird decision, but I kind of get it too.
And this is kind of probably a topic for another episode, but like, I'm curious as to how long E3 could survive without Sony being there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if it's just going to be Microsoft, Nintendo, PC
and Microsoft's
stuff, and
not
third
even
parties.
Microsoft's not even really there. They have
their own theater.
They don't rent space. They just do it at the same time. Their own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I don't know how much they may have some official presence in other ways.
Sony, buy a theater.
That would be funny if they opened their own competitive.
Future episode we should do history of E3 and what the future might be.
Right.
I'm into it.
Yeah, into it as well.
A couple more things to knock these out quick. There's a sale going on that ends day after this comes out.
So Thursday.
So there's on the eShop, the Nintendo eShop, a bunch of games on sale right now. Check that out if you hear this in time and you haven't already.
I already picked up a bunch of games from the sale. Yeah.
Awesome. A couple things here about first, if you wanted to buy physical games instead of a digital game on sale, you were trying to buy the Chinese version.
Oh my god!
That's region locked. It's the Chinese 10-cent Switch cartridges are not going to be able to be played outside of China, and I wonder if the reverse is going to be true too. I didn't hear anything about that, but that kind of sucks. But it's also not unexpected. I
Price
guess.
of doing business in China. Yeah.
And while we're talking about Tencent, Platinum Games has received a capital investment from Tencent. So it's unclear the exact arrangement there, but they made an announcement that they're partnering with them. So maybe they have some amount of, they either funded them for something or they bought some of the company or something, which also is kind of sucks.
They've got a lot more money now, so hopefully they can use that to make games.
It will work well.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't ban players from playing their games if they say stuff on streams.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And while we're talking about Platinum Games, Astral Chain, apparently it's been revealed, is sold very well. There was an interview in Famitsu with Kamiya and the director of the game, and they said it did better than their expectations. So maybe that means we'll get more of those games, because there was some talk about that at some point, where they said if it does well, they might make more Astral Chain games. Astral Chain Spirits are coming to Smash Brothers Ultimate. So if you were hoping for them to be DLC characters, I doubt that's going to happen. The twins are coming as spirits, not as characters. And then we're going to find out who the new DLC character is.
That's right.
That's really exciting.
I can't believe we didn't open with this.
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. I needed the segue.
Yeah. Patrick gets off on these fucking segues.
I am very excited about this. This is the biggest thing on the news for me. This Thursday at 8 a.m. Central, that's January 16th. So if you're listening to this right when it comes out, it won't have happened, but most likely otherwise it will. Man, they didn't say who it is. It's going to be another one of those 35-minute Sakurai Presents things.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm excited to see who it is, but I honestly don't have any speculation.
Really?
Yeah. I don't either. At this point, they've done a pretty good job of hiding it. There's the Dante theory seems possible.
I think that Dante, I'm leaning towards like an 80% that it's Dante right now, personally. Because one of the producers from Devil May Cry, well, first of all, the creator of Devil May Cry, like a year ago, was asked if Dante would be in Smash. And he's like, well, Dante needs to be on Switch. Like, Devil May Cry games need to be on Switch before Dante's in Smash. Now we have 2 Devil May Cry games on Switch, and the third is coming soon. So there's that. And then also a producer on the series recently said there are 3 dates you need to look out for Devil May Cry. One is the 16th.
Oh, okay.
Which is this Thursday, which is when this announcement is happening. One is the 30th, and then one is like a date in February. I forget exactly what date. So I'd imagine, personally, I feel that like the 16th will be, hey, Dante's in Smash. And then another one is like,
maybe the Direct.
Maybe the Direct. Yeah, where they show it off. So that was a pretty big slip of the tongue, if that turns out to be true. But would you guys be okay with Dante on Smash?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with it. Here's what I think. I don't think any one of the next announced characters, I think it's very likely most of them won't speak to me personally, but I'm hoping that one will out of all of them. You know what I mean? Like, that's sort of my hope.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd want to play with them and just like see how good the actual character itself is, because I don't have much like personal feeling for him now. But if it's a really cool character, could be fun.
Yeah. My worry is that Dante would feel a little too similar to Bayonetta.
Oh,
you know? I mean, there's similar games in both in theme and in gameplay. So it's like, and they're both kind of gunny, swordy people. So,
not like we have too many sword people or anything.
Yeah, exactly. If there's one thing Smash needs, it's more anime sword boys.
Obviously.
I'm still supporting the Paperboy theory.
Paperboy for Smash is not something I knew I wanted until Tommy brought it up in the group today.
Yeah. Well, if you're unfamiliar with the Paperboy theory, it means Paperboy is going to be in Smash.
I assumed we all knew.
So just 2 more news items that are going to seg us into our main topic. First of all, Pokemon Go and this is an estimate, by the way, by one of those companies, Sensor Tower, that does like mobile game estimates of how much money they're making. Pokemon Go apparently had the best year ever in 2019, making around $900 million in player spending.
Ooh.
So
it's fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
It's this far into its life, it's made that much money.
Right. So I think it came out in 2016. I might be wrong about that, but
so.
Sounds about right.
Right around then. And that was the next best year. Which I would have thought that would have been the best one, just because it was such a big phenomenon. But I guess over time, you get the people that are really into it and spend
the people that are going to be putting money into it. Because I feel like most people who played that year didn't pay any money.
They just tried it out.
But there's a lot of foot traffic and a lot of people that never played again. But now there's definitely people that know they're going to pay it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they've made that game like pretty robust. Like over the years, like there's a lot more features than were there originally. There's a lot more reason to actually make purchases in the game now. There's more Pokemon to catch from all these different generations. So
there's community days every month.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that kind of generates within the Pokemon Go community.
Yeah. And people still play every day. Like, I mean, Amanda last week told us that she plays literally every single day.
I see people where I work it's like in an area where there's several Pokemon Go hotspots or whatever. Yeah. And I regularly, when I step outside my work, I see people. Very funny to me. I feel like it's always like generations, and sometimes like three of them, like a little kid, a middle-aged person, and an older person, all like playing together.
I used to play with my dad, and he had never played a Pokemon game, never like knew he wanted to play this game. The fact that he played it was so much fun. We would just like go to a park together.
Yeah.
And I've heard it argued, sorry to cut you off, that this game relies on lots of people spending less amounts than some mobile games do, where they rely on like a couple people spending a lot of money.
Whales.
That this game is not sort of that whale phenomenon. It's like a lot of people spend a little bit of money for a little bit of upgrades or whatever. I don't know if that's true, but what were you going to say?
I'll just never forget that 3-month period of Pokemon Go in 2016 where everybody was playing it.
Yeah.
Like,
literally everyone I knew.
Yeah, I would go to a park, people would be playing it.
Dude, my work was nuts.
Yeah.
Like there were swarms of people.
I was in Washington, D.C. at the time, and all the monuments, everyone would just be walking around catching things.
Looking at their phone.
Yeah, but it was also the only place in D.C. you could catch Magikarp.
Which is the hottest Pokemon.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, good for Pokemon Go. I mean, that's a success story, man, for real.
Another success story, Pokemon Sword and Shield. The Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield apparently have sold over 3 million units physically in Japan so far. And there are only 3 Switch games, including that have sold 3 million physical copies in Japan. So
Japan has a lot less people than the US, so 3 million there is a huge fucking deal.
And that's just physical too. So. So obviously that game is selling really well, and I think we'll talk more about that game in just a minute after this break. We're going to be talking about Pokemon Sword and Shield 2 months later. It's been almost exactly 2 months since the games came out. And then on January 9th, just recently, they held a Pokemon Direct where they revealed a whole bunch of information. So I think what we're going to do is we'll just kind of go over the Pokemon Direct a little bit, and then we'll kind of use that as a launching point to talk about 2 months into Sword and Shield, how we feel about it.
The state of the game.
So we were just talking about this off the air, but Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX was announced for a March 6, 2020 release with a demo available now. Did that excite anybody? Did any of y'all play this game back in the day? Or?
So I didn't play it back in the day, but I do want to play it now. And I'm kind of hesitant to play the demo because I kind of just want to jump into it and have the whole game there. But do you like the demo so far?
Yeah, I played a little bit of it today. Actually, is this one of the demos where they transfer stuff over?
It is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I started playing it today. And my impressions of it as of right now are that it's probably not for me, but I am intrigued. I want to play the demo a little bit more. If you're not familiar with the Mystery Dungeon games, they're essentially roguelikes. There's like progression, not like a roguelike game. It's not like every time you start over, but all the dungeons are procedurally generated. And in fact, it's more roguelike than a lot of roguelike games in that like, you can only move in 4 cardinal directions. It's all dungeon based.
Top down.
Yeah. Enemies only move when you move. You know what I mean? It's every time it's random. So it's like, it's an interesting take on the genre. It definitely feels kind of like a kid's game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Some of the graphics kind of seem that way too. It's just like, you're a Pokemon now.
Yeah. Like the game starts and it's like, are you a boy or a girl? Actually, the game starts and it asks you all these weirdly personal questions.
It's really interesting. So I played this demo with my son. And I actually think I totally agree. This game is not for me, but like playing it with him was kind of okay. Like, cause he could actually play this game, which is interesting.
Well, the game can play the game. You can press L.
You can't just let it move.
But will it win?
But like David was starting to talk about, it asks you a bunch of questions. Like if you were going to, I don't even remember what they are, but these weird things.
Yeah, it's like if you were locked in a dark room, what would you do?
Yeah,
was one of them. And it was like, would you bust down the door, cry, or just sit there, or something like that?
All kinds of weird things.
Yeah,
and I had my son answer them. And then it like suggests a Pokemon for you to play as based on those, presumably.
Which then I disregarded and picked Squirtle.
So it totally suggested Cubone. And I was like, so Magnus, do you want to play as Cubone? He's like, no, I want to play as Pikachu. And it's like, okay, yeah.
But I would totally want to answer all those questions and just see what it says there.
Yeah. It picked Bulbasaur for me. Based on my based on the Myers-Briggs personality test.
Of breaking down doors when you're stuck in a dark chamber.
And it's a really weird concept. You're playing as like a human who has transformed into a Pokemon, and then you form a rescue team and you rescue Pokemon who are stranded in dungeons.
Mm-hmm. But do you ever get rescued?
I think you're a rescuer.
I don't know the end of the game. I've only played like an hour of the demo. So
I do like the art style. I do want to say that. I like it's a very childish art style. It kind of looks like kids' drawings,
like
a little
watercolory.
Bit, kind of watercolory, but it's really pleasant to look at. And it's like I think it collects the first 2 Mystery Dungeon games into one game.
And I should say this too. It's like a action game more than like a turn-based. Like you go up and you hit A to attack rather than pulling up a menu and having
very simplified.
I think that really made it easier for my son to play it because I could just, even though there's more complex things you could do, he could just go up and spam A when he hit an enemy and like walk around and like David said, you can only move in cardinal directions. Kind of makes it easier for him to play. So I think it's good if you want to play this with a kid. I don't know that as a non-Pokemon fan, you're going to get sucked in.
I think if you grew up with these games and you enjoyed them, like there's going to be enough for you to like play this game again with like a nice updated visual sheen.
Yeah, and it's a remake, right? I was confused on that. It is a remake.
The first 2 Mystery Dungeon games are remade into one game.
And I think there really is something to be said for the fact that they're trying to draw in a younger audience. With like Pokemon Go, so many young kids maybe haven't played Pokemon. And maybe they just bought Sword and Shield and they want another game out there. Yeah. Mystery Dungeon might be perfect for that.
Yeah, that's true. And then they announced the Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield expansion pass.
Which I'm really excited about. I want to put that out there.
Good. That's great.
Yeah.
So there's 2 parts to this. One's coming in June and one coming in the fall. And the first one's called the Isle of Armor and the other one's called the Crown Tundra. And there's going to be unique legendary Pokemons for each. And then there's also going to be like a new form of cooperative play where you get explore dens.
I think that's in the Tundra, right?
In the second one, yeah. And then also these apparently are more like the wild area where there's free, 3D camera. And then they're returning more than 200 Pokemon that are obviously not in the base game are going to be in these, which you can trade for if you don't have the expansion.
I really do like that they put that in there. Yeah. Because plenty of my friends aren't going to get it. And then I can just kind of give people Pokemon.
You're just going to become a Pokemon farm for your friends?
Maybe, yes, possibly.
That sounds great.
So, as somebody who's excited about it, what in particular is exciting you about the DLC?
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, I really like the wild area. I like that that's how they're setting this up, and I wish there was more of that in the game. I think there is a good amount of it. I don't think the game is incomplete by any means, but...
That's a perfect DLC situation.
Yeah, I want more. That's what I would want. I don't want more of the story plot per se, as we have always played it forever. If you beat this gym and then this gym and then this gym, I'm excited for a random area that I have to explore with maybe one other gym in it. I think that'd be really fun.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that's really nice. I think something else that's good about this, and I hope that they do for all games going forward, is that I feel like this DLC is taking the place of like an Ultra Moon or Ultra Sun.
Definitely.
Or like this is not Pokemon Emerald, right? Like this is like, I mean, I think ultimately if you pay for it, it kind of works out to where it's the same price as if you bought 2 3DS games, because the game is $60 instead of $40 originally. So it kind of ends up being the same price, but it's like a better way to do it. I think building onto the game instead of making you do the whole story again with new elements just makes so much more sense.
And it's all new story, whatever's going to come out in the DLC.
Right.
New maps, new Pokemon, and old Pokemon. But as opposed to just replaying the story I played 2 months ago,
right,
I'm looking forward to something new.
So like in the past, what they've done is released an updated version of the game with more content.
That kind of like combines both versions.
Where you have to rebuy it. But this is maybe their answer to that, which, like you said, seems like a better situation, because you can just continue your story and not start over and redo the stuff you've already done.
Yeah, because I don't want to replay the same gyms again. If I have Sword, I'm not going to go buy Shield.
Right.
So why would I buy a third game that's basically that, but with a little bit more? Yeah. I'd rather pay for just a DLC.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever play Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon?
I didn't play Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon. I played like Crystal as a kid, which was the silver gold version.
Right.
I'm trying to think of which other ones. A lot of the Ultra ones are the remakes I didn't play just because I wanted new storylines.
Yeah.
A few of them I was tempted to go back because like my old cartridges are broken. So I want just like whatever the new version of the game is.
Right.
But I really do like the idea of kind of expanding on it. They figured out what worked well, and I think they've been able to see, what people want in the past couple months. And I think the wild area was a huge success. So that seems like a really good place to expand.
So I was curious about do you think, Emma, that this is like the right time to announce DLC? I think there's always a question about, when people say there's going to be DLC at launch versus when they announce it later, and the reaction can vary there.
Yeah, I mean, there might be something to be said for I wish they'd announced it at launch. For the timing, though, I think this is a good time to announce more. I've started kind of winding down from the game. I'm not playing it as much. And knowing now that, in the summer I'm going to pick it back up again, is great. It's getting me thinking about, I'm going to spend $30 on this.
Yeah. And the $30, did it give you both expansions?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like a season pass.
What a great
And they are specific. So there's going to be like a sword one and a shield one.
Yeah, that has unique things, right?
Yeah.
Like, so there's certain characters or Pokemon are only in each one again.
I think Shield has a psychic like gym leader. I think Sword has...
I think it's just Poison.
Kawaii as fuck, like
so
Poison.
Cute. I'm very excited for her.
Yeah. I think she has a cooler design than the psychic one.
Someone said though that they're continuing this idea where you kind of need to make it cooperative and you have to trade to get all the Pokemon, and that's nice. I really do enjoy that.
Yeah.
And now that multiplayer, everything is easier than it used to be when I'm a kid.
Right.
It's easier to actually trade Pokemon.
And I think that's the way to frame it. I think that's the positive way to frame it. Lots of people are like, well, you to buy the whole game, you have to buy both games and both expansions, and that's ridiculous amount of money. Yeah. I guarantee you somebody is doing it.
I mean, the majority of people, right. I would say like 90% of people only buy Sword or Shield.
And they should, and that's what the answer to it should be, right? Like that's what they're intending.
You're gonna get all the Pokemon. The only real issue is you might not fight that one gym leader.
Right.
But you can get all the Pokemon that you're not going to be able to get.
Right. I think I can see a lot of arguments that people make about DLC being like, they held back content to just make us pay for it later. This does not feel like that to me, honestly. I don't
think so.
Like you said, and full disclosure, I have not beaten Pokemon Sword, but it's like, I trust you when you say it feels like a complete game.
Yeah. I mean, as complete as any of the last few have been.
Right.
It's definitely not less than the games that they had on the 3DS.
Right. Yeah. And so I think having a big story expansion, where they're adding like all these Pokemon back into it. Like if they were nickel and diming you to like buy specific Pokemon that weren't in the game, that would be super scummy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But having 200 additional Pokemon over the course of 2 DLCs that are both coming back and brand new, and then allowing people that don't own the DLC to trade for those, like that seems like the best possible way for them to do
and
DLC.
replacing this ultra version with this too.
I'm totally down.
While we're on that subject, I had a lot of friends who were kind of mad that it wasn't going to be a complete Pokedex from the beginning. I haven't been as mad, mostly because it becomes more achievable. If there's only 400 Pokemon, I actually can get them all.
Right.
If there's going to be like 1 million and infinity in a a few years, like it just becomes outlandish to actually do it.
You did complete the Pokedex.
A couple weeks ago I completed the Pokedex.
Nice,
but pretty much immediately news came out that I wasn't done. So that's fun.
For late breaking news, you're not done.
Yeah, there's about 200 more coming.
I know, like you said, some people are obviously upset, and obviously vocal people on the internet were, but like my friend Austin was happy about this change because he was saying that this has gotten him into the competitive part of the game where like now, you know, not everybody can bring these Pokemon they've been bringing up through the bank. You have to, there's a new meta to that. And so he's like, I hope they, when we were talking about this direct before it happened, he's like, I hope they don't add in all the Pokemon back in. And then we're back to the state we were in. And he was
that's a controversial take.
I know it is, but I think but it's an interesting perspective on it, I thought. And he was happy with the amount that they were adding back in. He's like, I don't think that, you know.
And something nice too. I mean, we can go into some of the details of these DLCs, but I think just off the top of my head, like, you know, we saw Gigantamax forms of Venusaur and Blastoise, which
look pretty cool.
Which look pretty cool, and then begs the question. I mean, I think you can assume from that you'll be able to catch Squirtles and
if you couldn't like be able to just breed them, that'd be kind of an issue. I feel like
exactly. Yeah, they're not just going to throw in Blastoise and Venusaur and
because there's all the Charizard line,
right?
So.
Exactly, and then he's got a Gigantamax version as well. So that's cool. That is probably the one kind of scummy thing about this is keeping the two starters that aren't Charizard from the base game. But it's nice that they're back in regardless. And then something else that was cool and like another cool throwback thing was Galarian forms of Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, which I thought looked really cool.
Yeah, and they kind of opened it up to being able to catch a lot of legendaries from old games.
Yeah. They showed a image with like
all
every
of
legendary.
Them, pretty much all of them.
It sounded like the Crown Tundra, the second part, which is going to be focused on finding new and old legendaries.
Yeah, and I think those will all be through like raid battles, right?
And whatever the exploring the dens is.
Yeah, whatever dens will be.
Because so far that's just been an external thing. You know, there are dens and that's where you find the raid battles. But now it seems like they want it to become like you delve into them with your friend type of deal.
What if they did like a procedurally generated thing, kind of like Mystery Dungeon?
Yeah.
Where like each den was its own little dungeon that was created. That'd be really cool.
That could be fun.
They're definitely saying it's a new form of co-op play, but at least to the Pokemon.
Do you think that they would do co-op like they do in Let's Go?
Oh, I don't think so. I kind of got the impression it was going to be like online, like the raid.
Yeah,
battles.
if I could play with my friends that aren't in Austin, that'd be really fun. Because Pokemon is really great for trading and battling and whatnot, but it's not a very extended thing. That's like, okay, let's play for 5 minutes. I beat you. Awesome.
Right.
But it'd be cool if there was something of like, hey, let's jump on for like 20 minutes and go explore a thing together where we're not directly competing. I don't know exactly how they would do it. The Let's Go one was a little bit hand-holdy, I think, for people that needed help.
Yeah. It was a baby game for babies.
Yeah.
What's so dumb
Still
about that?
liked it, but
as somebody who tried to play with a 3-year-old at the time, he can't read and he doesn't want to play a game where there's so much reading.
Well, teach that kid to read, Patrick.
Yeah. Falling behind on my 3-year-old not knowing how to read.
Oh, man.
But like, it was dumb. It's like, this is a great game for kids, but it's like, there's a smaller range than like little kids. You know what I mean? Like you can't, because he can't select attacks from menus. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. No, I have some like cousins though that are too young to really remember Pokemon and then are just old enough to really want to be into gaming. So I feel like, Let's Go didn't quite hit it there, but I feel like there's plenty of room for like Mystery Dungeon and other things. And now that people are playing just normal Pokemon Go, they want to know what's there. They want to know what the options are.
Yeah, I think the like overall pulse is a positive reaction to the DLC.
Yeah.
Just like throughout the Nintendo community, especially after hearing the small number of Pokemon in Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Right.
Yeah.
It's nice to finally have a little bit of positivity surrounding these games. after like a pretty terse 2019 when it comes to like the community.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, yeah, you're right. It does feel somewhat
There was, of
positive.
course, people being jerks about it.
Yeah.
Like, well,
People
it didn't
reacted
give us a
really
full game.
strongly and not being immediately able to port over their Pokemon from other games. And now that seems like it's going to be an option. They're going to come out with Pokemon Home to switch over Pokemon.
Yes.
That was something that was mysteriously missing from this Pokemon
Right.
game.
Which
Yeah.
we should talk about. But one thing I wanted to ask before we talk about that, because it just relates to the DLC, is do you think that this DLC is, and the Mystery Dungeon game, are the Pokemon games for 2020? Or, and then this is kind of replacing anything else they might do. I hope that's the case.
If they're doing a summer and a fall release, then
this is
probably.
it.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see like a Gold and Silver Let's Go this year.
Any remake or anything.
I think honestly, I think they should do those games. I think that it would be smart for them to have the DLC be their focus for this year, community support, which they've shown that they've had a lot of community support over the course of the game. And then we've got like a new release with Mystery Dungeon. I think next year should be Let's Go. And I think that they should take their time on a sequel to Sword and Shield, and hopefully save that for 2022. That's my.
This seems like a better way to do it. So
and I think that's looping this back to you guys' previous topic of replay, like having this game last through 2020 would be pretty good. I would like to be able to play this game, especially if I'm spending $30 more on it. I want it to last more time.
Yeah. Do you think $30 is a fair price before we move on? Like, that seems a little high for DLC.
It's
or
better than a brand new
end,
game.
But that's fair.
And it's also going to be 2 different maps, like 200 different Pokemon, new outfits, which I like.
Yeah, new hairstyles.
New
and stuff.
hairstyles.
You can dress up as Marnie now.
Pretty cool.
And that Cubfu legendary looked pretty nice.
Yeah, no, they teased some pretty cool Pokemon. That one in the weird balloon crown
that's
legendary.
That one breaks my brain.
Callie,
I kind
Something
of
like
love it.
One thing, I guess, if you wouldn't mind, before we move on again, just kind of looking at the future, it definitely seems like you said earlier, Emma, that like they're really going all in on the wild area stuff. Do you think that this is a trend that they'll keep going with the next game? Do you think they'll make the kind of the inevitable follow up to Sword and Shield like open throughout the whole game?
I think it'd be kind of hard to make the entire thing open, but I think what they've realized is that is the multiplayer aspect.
Okay, right.
For raiding, trading, everything else, the wild area really is their multiplayer zone. Because the rest of it is story mode. You fight things, it's mostly one-on-one. But the raid battles, you can play with people online. You can do that. You can catch a bunch of different Pokemon in the wild area, which you need to trade, which is multiplayer. So I think they really do want to expand on making it a multiplayer immersive experience, and that is the way to expand that.
Yeah.
There is some speculation on what you're saying, all of this about the wild area, that Game Freak wanted the whole game to be wild area. And the Pokemon company was like, no, we need to stick to the usually gym mechanics that we normally have. And so then the compromise was DLC will be wild areas only. So Game Freak can explore these den ideas or these new game mechanics in a deeper style rather than completely blowing up the franchise expectations.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm for it. I love the wild area. I think it makes the game feel so much more fresh than any previous Pokemon game I've played.
Definitely. And now that I'm more like done with the game, that's what I do kind of go back to. I'm not visiting the towns as much. I'm just going and like seeing what raids there are and catching other Pokemon.
Right.
But with that in mind, Matt, I guess if they do really well with the DLC, if those mechanics really work well, maybe they would try to integrate that more into a game.
I hope so.
Well, the last little piece of news they gave us, which was no news, was that Pokemon Home, more information will come later.
Right.
And it's coming in February.
Which is pretty soon, though, for no information.
For no information, which makes you wonder why.
Right.
Anyone want to speculate on why they didn't want to tell us about this? Like, is
Backlash?
It pricing backlash?
Well, I mean, what Pokemon Bank is like, that's a paid application.
$5 a year, as I understand
it's $5
it.
a year. So I bet they'll probably make it $10 a year. Or
and
like
maybe
that.
it'll have some other feature to justify that, but maybe they didn't want to have $30 DLC, $10.
I think they just know that people are still a little terse about, like, even with Pokemon Home coming out, still not being able to bring all their shit over to Sword and Shield. And now, that having been said, I think you can move all your Pokemon over to bank, or from bank to home, correct?
I think so,
You
yeah.
just won't be able to
correct.
move them to Sword and Shield.
I've seen very complicated flow charts.
Right.
Where, yes, you can move stuff from bank to
So
home.
you'll still be able to, if you've got, that fucking, Charizard from your original Pokemon Red game, like that'll still live in some cloud somewhere. You just can't use it necessarily quite yet.
And not to keep bringing them up, but Austin's hope for home is that will have a battle mechanic so that the people that are miffed that they can't bring their Pokemon in will be able to be satisfied by that.
That would be cool and maybe worth more money. If you are going to actually charge $10, then
we'll
you
see.
could probably charge $20 for that.
Right.
Patrick, I think I agree with you that they purposely didn't talk about the price because they mentioned $30 for the DLC.
Yeah.
Right.
Which isn't absurd, but is on the high end for DLC. Right?
Yeah, I mean, what the Breath of the Wild expansion pass was $20.
25 or 20?
I think it was 20 for both tiers.
Yeah, something
And
like
then
that.
the Smash DLC, the Fighters Pass was
25, 20,
25,
something like that. 20 maybe, I can't remember. They're in that range.
30 definitely, I think, is the highest they've charged for DLC.
Yes.
Yeah, at this point.
They're usually around 20, 25, I feel
But I
like.
mean, everyone is going to fucking buy it. This DLC is going to sell so much.
Yeah. So that's why you say, you're going to spend $30. I'm going to tell you you're going to spend it now. And then, later I'm going to tell you you're going to spend $10.
Yeah, or whatever it is.
So it makes it feel like you're spending $30 and $10 instead of $40.
Yeah.
That's true. But Nintendo has shown that people are willing to spend money on Pokemon.
Yes.
Oh my God.
This year has proven that.
Yeah.
And
even throughout all the controversy, people still fucking,
Yeah.
it's the highest selling.
Yeah.
It's doing
Pokemon
so
game
well.
recently. Yeah.
Totally unrelated to this game. I heard somebody say something to the effect of people, these companies don't pay attention to the internet backlash. They pay attention to the sales, right? Because that's what matters. And
Exactly.
And they're just getting buzz about it. People might be mad, but people hear it. People hear the names. People hear the game, and they'll buy it eventually. Yeah. Some people won't, and I know some people will be upset, but
I posted this meme on Switch Headz. There was a Food Network show where they made cakes, and all the cakes were Pokemon characters.
They looked really great.
That's the level that we are of understanding Pokemon. Yeah. It's reaching the audience who watches the Food Network.
Well, it's the biggest franchise in the world.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, before we move on from the Direct and just kind of talk about the games, I did want to say, this was a surprising Direct. I think every person that talked about it before it came out was they'll probably talk about home, and maybe they'll talk about Pokemon Sleep, and that's it. And people did not think they would do paid DLC, and did not think there would be a new game announcement. And
I was pretty shocked.
Or a shadow drop of a demo.
Yeah. So I think it was a good Pokemon Direct. And I say that as somebody who's not a Pokemon fan. You know what I mean?
I think it was good. And it was interesting what stage they're in of development, too. Because a lot of it was sketches and little things about one character. There's not a lot of built game yet, which is kind of interesting to see.
That's true. When they showed it was a lot of concept art.
A lot of concept art.
They also showed off some of the developers. I know there's a newer developer who's leading up development on the DLC.
Right. Yeah, the director of the DLC.
Yeah, a new director and he's a younger guy, and it's and it was kind of cool to be and I think they've done this in Pokemon Directs in the past where they're here's an artist or here's a blah blah blah. And it's nice to see kind of the face behind some of the people that are the faces behind Game Freak, you know what I mean? It's a nice little peek behind the curtain for fans.
Oh, yeah. And it really does kind of seem like they want to show you this thing they're working on. They're excited and they want to let people know, hey, we're in development. It's kind of a ways away, but come summer, come fall, we're hoping to have this done.
Cool. Well, then let's talk about just Pokemon Sword and Shield and where we're at with that. 2 months out from the release. So, Emma, you were saying you
beat it all.
And
you got everything.
I got everything. I've caught them all. I did all the story things.
How many eggs have you hatched total, do you think?
Oh, geez. Not actually that many.
You don't like Shiny Farm?
So now I'm going to. Okay. I was waiting. I was waiting because after you once you complete the Pokedex, you get a shiny charm, which makes the percentage of actually getting a shiny higher, and the percentages are so low. Right. It's really worth it.
Right.
So I did some breeding to mostly get Pokemon that I knew other people in trades would want.
Right.
So that I could use those to trade for Pokemon I needed.
Right.
And then now that I've done all of that, I'll probably go shiny farm a little bit. But I was kind of dropping off, and it's glad to see there's more hype and more stuff to look forward to because now I want a shiny Pokemon to play with.
Out of curiosity, do you know how much time you've put into it?
Oh, it's probably over 100 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly off the top of my head.
Yeah,
but
just curious.
I can check.
Well,
Pull out that Switch.
Have anybody else here been putting any more time into Sword or Shield, or you
I haven't
moved
played
on,
as
or?
much recently, just because, like I said, there have been like over Christmas and with this New Year's sale, like I picked up a lot of games recently, irresponsible amount of games. So it's like I've been kind of playing other games, but it's nice to know that A, I have more game to go back to. B, I have a lot of friends that have Pokemon that I need at this point.
And if you don't want to get the DLC, you'll be able to trade.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll just hound you and our friend Austin. And
honestly, like a group like this is really good for that.
Yeah.
Just being able to say like, oh, hey, who needs this Pokemon or who wants to trade? Like the Discord helped a ton for doing that.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. I think that online communities like this really extend the life of a game like this. Like the Pokemon channel on our Discord server, the Switch Headz Discord server, you should join if you're listening and you're not on it.
You should, yeah.
Like the Pokemon Discord server is popping off like every day, and it's the most active non-general channel. I think it's even more popular than the general.
It's definitely more popular than general.
Because
so it's like
you need that for this game. The game is really built to be cooperative, which is cool because I've played so many Pokemon games, but I was really only trading with friends and I didn't complete my Pokedex. This one really drove me to try to trade with strangers, try to trade with people that are in the Switch Headz group.
Yeah.
Just try to actually do it.
Nice.
Just fun. Also at 113 hours, I looked it up.
Very good. Very good.
Nice.
Thanks for the specifics.
And Emma, I was hanging out with another guest of ours, Lee Housen, talking about Pokemon, and he was telling me about something that the Pokemon community did on Christmas Day, like some special trades where they put a bunch of like rare Pokemon up on random trades to like surprise
that's
kids
awesome.
who were playing the game for the first time that day, and like opened up random, so it wasn't a bunch of like Wooloos.
Oh yeah,
it was like rare shinies.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Honestly,
that's a really cool thing.
I've been trying to do that now since I'm further in the game. Like I'm trying not to throw just crap into the surprise trades because it's way more fun. A few times I've gotten some like random things or like a probably hacked Chinese version of a Pokemon that I love. I'm so happy to throw random things into that trade. It makes people happy.
That's
cool.
Yeah, it's nice. I know. I forget who posted. I think maybe Austin posted this in the Facebook group. But there's like kind of community codes for certain types of trades, like for I guess Pokemon that are specific to each form of the game.
I saw that recently. So basically, it's like, okay, if you need to trade your this one from Sword to this one from Shield, type in this code, and as long as everyone is using it properly, it'll match you up with exactly what you need.
Right.
Which is nice.
Yeah, because it's like a 4-number pin or whatever that you do for those kinds of trades. Yeah, that's really cool.
That organization level of Pokemon fandom is like incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's cool that they're doing such a positive thing, like you said, for Christmas. That makes me happy.
I mean, all this stuff is like shows the evolution of this franchise, right? It's like, when this was out for the Game Boy, the internet wasn't really a thing. I mean, it was, but not like it is now, of course. There weren't like online communities like talking about, and you couldn't trade your Pokemon online. On the Game Boy.
You had to have the cable or whatever.
Yeah, but it's like now with like Reddit and, Facebook groups and Discord and, all this like online stuff. And then also now that we are in an era of DLC, it like makes more sense to expand the game that way.
There's also
than these more archaic ways.
There's definitely a ton of dedicated groups, but it's cool just to see how people are playing, even if you're not in a dedicated group. So even without the surprise trade, you can just start a random link trade with people. And it was a slow learning curve, but I figured out that there is a nonverbal communication of like how to trade Pokemon. People just cancel on each other until you're happy. But it's so true. You both put up a Pokemon you want to trade. That's why I was breeding up ones I thought people would want. So you can start with that. The first person to cancel changes theirs until you guys both accept the trade.
I can't believe that cancel culture has invaded Pokemon.
No, but I mean, Nintendo doesn't have like a voice chat thing. So it's really hard to coordinate that. The other way I've seen is people nicknaming their Pokemon, please give me this.
I love that.
One of my last ones I needed, I did get that way.
Yeah, nice. Very good.
You just spam it until someone finally gives you that.
Yeah, I think it's just nice that people are actually like trading to fill their Pokedex instead of just using Game Shark.
Oh, yeah.
Which is what I did back in the day.
I mean, I did hear of some like hacking and things at the beginning, but mostly what I heard from other fans was that they didn't like that. And then I haven't heard much about it anymore.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
Cool. Any other final thoughts on Pokemon Direct, DLC, Sword and Shield before we move on?
I think that this Pokemon DLC will hold me over until Temtem comes out.
I think
that was a joke, but Temtem does kind of look good.
It's the like knockoff Pokemon game.
Yeah.
What game is it?
Temtem.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's like a Pokemon knockoff that like does all the things that people complained about Pokemon Sword and Shield. That looks pretty cool too.
Everything's a wild area.
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
And there's like voice chat or something.
Would make things very helpful, honestly.
I mean, it's coming to Switch. I mean, we don't have to talk about Temtem right now, but like, and it's not Tsum Tsum, it's Temtem. But yeah, I basically that was kind of a joke. But I think that this looks really promising, and it makes me want to pick the game back up. And I'll definitely be picking up this DLC at some point.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think I will also pick up the DLC. I'm going to play through the main game.
Y'all should do that. We have such a good community.
Yeah, we do.
Help
That's
you
very
out.
true.
Yeah.
And just like overall for the Pokemon franchise, it's like Nintendo opened up the Pokemon Center in Tokyo. With they have the giant Mewtwo and the flotation tank.
Yeah.
I had a friend that went there a couple of weeks ago in Japan. He said there was a 2-hour wait to get in.
I keep hearing that the Tokyo store is not big enough and that people have to wait in line.
Yeah,
well, there's a Nintendo store and a Pokemon store both in the same building, and they both have 2-hour waits.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So there's that's happening. That Nintendo sees they're putting more money into the franchise to get more the community interfacing with it, but also like thinking about, okay, we have a Super Nintendo World, and then maybe we're going to have a Pokemon World inside of that.
Why is there no Pokemon theme park? Yeah. That's unbelievable.
It totally is. If it's the biggest franchise,
yeah,
it totally makes sense.
That would be so cool.
And as we were talking about that, this is totally speculation, but I was like, if we come out with a smartphone game, it's an AR game, we just easily get Pokemon Snap on our phones, and then have special legendary Pokemon at these theme parks.
That'd be awesome.
Fans will always come up with better ideas for what to do with Pokemon than the Pokemon Company will ever do.
Take that to the Pokemon Bank.
Awesome. Well, in that case, I think we'll take a quick break, and then we will talk about what games we've been playing. All right, we're back. So this is part of the show where we talk about the games other than Pokemon, I guess, that we've been playing recently. Anybody want to go first?
I'll go first.
All
I have
right.
the shortest list. I've been playing more Halo with my dudes, and so that's been really fun getting into that metagame. I've been playing a smartphone game called The White Door. Are you familiar with this?
No.
It's a stylized puzzle game. So it's very cool. You are a person who's going through a breakup, and you're you're institutionalized. But there's a bunch of puzzles that you have to solve. And as you go through the different days, it tells the story of the breakup and the effect that it had on you.
Cool.
So it's like this narrative that's happening that's connected to the gameplay, which always like sucks me in.
Oh, if it can be done well, that's
dude. That sounds like
game.
my movie, The Woo.
Yeah,
Similar plot.
Really?
I also sounds.
Oh, I've never seen The Woo.
You should watch it. It's great.
You guys didn't know David's a filmmaker.
Yeah.
He makes movies. So I've been playing that, which encouraged me to start playing Baba Is You.
Is it good?
I downloaded it, but I haven't played it yet. But I'm stoked to start.
You'll have to update us next week on that.
It's a puzzle game.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. I've heard about it, but haven't actually played it. So
I've heard that game is really fun and just like devilishly hard.
Yeah, like you hit
and
a
you need like a
difficulty
specific
spike
kind of mind to play it.
past a certain point. Yeah, especially.
I don't do drugs, but if I did, I would not do drugs and play the game.
I've heard if you have programming prowess, that game is especially good.
I do not.
That does it for me.
Yeah. I'll go next. Like I said, I purchased just insufferable amount of games from the two recent sales. I'm not going to talk about all of them. I'll save some of them for future episodes by the time I actually get to play them. But I will also say, first off, I've been playing a lot of Killer Queen Black with Sasha recently, and Sasha has become just completely addicted to Killer Queen Black.
That's awesome.
She loves it. Yeah. And it's so fun to play that game with other people. So it's like her and I will play together against other people online. And it's like, we've kind of gotten like a shorthand down on like ways to strategically hit different things during the matches. And we've actually turned into a pretty good team. I'm pretty happy with the progress we've made. That game continues to be one of the most fun games on Switch for me. But other than that, you'll like this. I downloaded What Remains of Edith Finch over the sale, but I have not played it yet. But I'm going to get to that one soon. I like to highlight a couple of games, like smaller indie games that I picked up on this sale that if you're listening to this on Wednesday, you still have 2 days to download. One of them is called Earth Knight. Have you guys heard of this game?
No, but I saw that you were playing it.
Yeah. So Earth Knight is a bizarre game. Both of these games are really weird. Earth Knight is it's like a roguelike, but it's also an auto runner. And you basically play as either this like bald bearded man or this like younger like girl wearing the skirt, and you like jump out of this enormous plane in space and fall towards Earth. And there are all these like long, like Chinese style dragons that are flying over Earth. And it's like this top down view as you're like skydiving towards the Earth until you land on a dragon, at which point the camera transitions to 2D. And it's like an auto runner as you run along the back of this dragon, getting to its head so you can stab its head and kill it.
Okay. Yeah. That was a wild description.
Yeah. And the game, I described it perfectly. That is what the game is like. It's totally batshit. It's got this like hand drawn art style. Throughout it, there's all this like trash and like junk that's on the back of the dragons that you have to pick up to then like trade for water, because water is the currency in this weird dystopian future that this game takes place in.
Wow.
Super strange, but it's a great like pick up and play for a few minutes sort of game. I've been kind of randomly going back and forth to that game, but I really enjoy it. And it's like, I think they showed it in an Indie World presentation or something a while ago, and the graphic style just like really spoke to me, so I picked it up. I can't necessarily say I'd recommend it to everybody, but at least check it out, look a video up, and if the style speaks to you, you'll probably enjoy it. And then I'll close out with the last game I've been playing is this game called Desert Child, which is another game I saw in the eShop like a couple years ago and was kind of like waiting for a sale to pick up. And again, this is one where just the graphical style really spoke to me. It's this kind of hip like pixel art style, but it's like not like little pixel characters. It's like they create kind of beautiful images with the pixel art. You know what I mean? But anyway, the kind of plot of this game is that it also takes place in the future, and it's also very dystopian, but you are like a hoverbike racer. And it's kind of this like side scrolling shoot 'em up in a way that's also a racer. And you kind of, as you're doing the racing segments, you're picking up scrap and you're picking up stuff to upgrade your bike and to like get you to Mars. Like the game starts on Earth and Earth is all run down. Everybody's trying to move to Mars. So you eventually get to Mars and I'm still working my way through it. It's like I said, it's very hip. It's got like a really cool soundtrack. It's very tongue in cheek. I think there's like a record store where you can buy songs for the game, and you can also like buy podcasts. One of them is the Mo Rogan Experience. And it's got tons of in jokes. It's like an M-rated game. Like everybody's just saying fuck and shit all the time. And it's very strange. A lot harder to describe than Earth Knight. But again, check out Desert Child. It's got a really cool style. I love the kind of humor of it. And I'm really enjoying it right now.
Awesome.
What about you, Patrick?
Oh, okay. I've been mostly playing Mario Maker 2 and Smash Ultimate lately, but I've continued on Ring Fit every day since the new year.
Fuck yeah,
Just a little bit. I've been playing a little bit of Child of Light as well. I feel like I'm closing in on beating that game soon.
Do you still not like that game?
I've turned a little bit of a corner with it. Yeah. I like parts of it now. It's got an interesting battle system, but it's not. I'm never gonna like say this was a great game for me. Right. I know a lot of people really love it, but I'm gonna finish it because I'm almost there. It's got some unique things in the time, which I'm not very good at this, but like where you can stall the enemies from attacking if you attack them at the right time. Mm-hmm. So it's a very timing based, turn based game.
And it's kind of Paper Mario-ish, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I just am not, and you can stall them in different ways, and it just, my brain doesn't quite work that well for that. Like, so I often like I don't know. The battles are interesting, but I don't love it. And then I also been playing some Risk of Rain 2 on PC. I've got my new gaming PC together, and my cousin gifted me that game so we could play together. And so we played for a couple hours the other day.
That's awesome. I almost got that during the sale, but I got Dragon Ball FighterZ instead. Yeah, it was a tough decision, but
yeah, it's fun.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's fun. We played for a long time because he kept me alive, basically, because I didn't know. I mean, I played it.
So you're not playing that on the Switch. You're playing that on PC.
I'm playing it on PC. I played it a little bit by myself to do that. And then we had none. Yeah, it's cool. I'm not huge into roguelikes. I've actually not even played that much. So I don't know how, but he gave it to me for free. So
my friend Nate plays a lot of that game and he really enjoys it. You should play with Nate sometime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because you can do up to 4 players, right?
Yes, you can. I think,
do you know if it's cross-platform?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I would guess no, but I don't know.
Killer Queen Black is.
Yeah.
That's honestly really good because one of the ones I was going to mention is Ring Fit Adventure. I picked it up over the holidays and I really like it, but I just haven't fit it in a daily schedule. And I think that would definitely help. Because it's a fun story. I just haven't made it very far in it.
Yeah, my goal is to just even do just a few minutes every day. You know what I mean? Because even it's interesting because the game tracks your actual time exercising rather than the time you're playing the game and shows you that.
It's your active minutes.
And that sucks because you feel it a lot more. And
I know.
Then you're like, shit, I've only done like 8 minutes of exercise.
Right. So my goal is to get at least a few minutes of actual exercise every day.
Have you done like the mini games and whatnot?
Yeah, I got to do everything as I go. So I do every little thing on the map before I move to the world.
Cool. That's awesome.
You've been playing anything other than Ring Fit?
Yeah. So over the holidays, I started another Stardew Valley game, and that has sucked up a ton of my time. It's a wonderful game, but there's much you can do.
Yeah.
And I actually played Splatoon 2 with a few friends recently, which is fun. It's so good.
It's so good.
And you just pick it up, play a few games. That's all you need to do.
I wish there were still Splatfests on, but it is, I mean, the majority of the time there are not Splatfests going on.
Yeah.
So it's like, people are always going to be playing that game.
No, but we played when there was a salmon run going, and that was fun. We got to just shoot a bunch of monsters together.
Yeah.
But that's mostly been it. Stardew Valley has taken up all of my time.
These next few months are going to be because Animal Crossing is coming out and
Cyberpunk. Final Fantasy VII just got pushed back to April too. So
when in April?
It's April 10th.
Oh, my birthday is a week after that. Yeah. Darn it.
Well, I think it's 10th is Final Fantasy and then April 16th is Cyberpunk. Okay. Those are coming out really close to each other.
Yeah, and when's Animal Crossing coming out?
In 66 days.
It's coming out the same day as Doom Eternal also, which is... Yeah,
a lot of stuff right there.
My friends were updating each other. She sent me a very good meme when it was 69.
Nice.
It was just the side eye.
Well, I think that does it for the show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, how here?
Did you have a good time?
Oh, for sure. Let me know if you want to talk about Animal Crossing.
Of course, yeah.
Thanks to Corduroy for doing our music. Thanks to you, listener out there. If you've got any thoughts about Pokemon, the DLC, or any of the things we talked about from the Direct, let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'll share it next week.
Apologies to Chris McKeever for missing Tsum Tsum this week.
Yes, we didn't get to it. We'll be at PAX. We should have said that at the beginning, but we're saying it now.
We'll be at PAX South 17th through the 19th.
That's January right. 17th. We're getting a hotel. We're going to be in San Antonio for the whole weekend. So if you're going to be in San Antonio this weekend, be sure to hit us up on either Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and we'll try to do a meetup. Maybe we can do a meetup like Saturday night.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And we'll do an episode about our experience at PAX.
That's right. Yeah. The plan is to record an episode this weekend at our hotel. So I think we're trying to get some Switch Heads that we know are going to be there on the episode. So look forward to that. Apologies if we don't have quite as much news because we'll be just talking about our PAX experience.
Yeah,
we'll be able to talk about whatever the Smash Direct is going to be. So at least we'll have that. Yeah. Folks, thank you so much for listening to the show. If you want to catch us individually online, I'm Monolith Fiji.
I am PDYX.
I'm Matthew on Twitter, MATHYOU.
Where can people find you, Emma?
Pretty much just Emma on most Switch Head things.
Okay, very good. Look us up online if you want to find Switch Heads. We are Switch Heads on Twitter, Super Switch Heads on Instagram and Facebook. Remember to join our Facebook group. Oh, it's the most fun place on the internet. Other than that, folks, thank you so much for listening to the show. It was a blast. We'll talk to you guys next week. We love you. Bye-bye.